I would say that awesome feels more exaggerated, louder. Amazing feels more exaggerated, louder, right? Incredible really does give a sense of you're in disbelief about how great this is, right? Of course, it depends on how you say it. And phenomenal, I would say, is similar. Whereas terrific, excellent, wonderful could be used to mean very good, but maybe have a less, let's say, less oomph when we use them. We have words like very good, awesome, amazing, incredible, phenomenal, terrific, wonderful, excellent, superb, splendid. For words that mean very good, what are the differences between them? Are the differences in the definitions, or are the differences in the connotations? Well, that is an interesting question. We have to understand, I guess, what those two things mean before we really dive into this. The definition is what you read in the dictionary. The connotation is how it's usually used, and when people use it, what does it feel like, right? What is people's sense? That thing that's hard to express when they hear that. That is the connotation. So we're going to talk about the connotations of good. Good, the word good. Now, I would say that the word good itself is so general that it almost doesn't have a connotation. But it would depend on the situation and maybe the tone of voice you use. Someone says, "Oh, I'd like to do this later. What do you think about that?" And you say, "Good, good." Then I think that what you said is good. I like your plan. But if you say, "Good," and then, okay, you're in a hurry and you're just saying something and you might not really mean it, right? So when we talk about connotations, we're talking about much more than simply the meaning of the word, okay? So that is how I want to sort of frame this question. Not about definitions. We're talking about the feeling, right? The feeling. Okay. So let's start with ones that are pretty general. When I say general, what I mean is when you say these, it's going to show maybe excitement. It's going to show a sense of it being more than just good, but very good, right? If you look up the definition of these, you're going to get something pretty similar for all of them, right? And so we can say that generally speaking, they're synonyms, but each of them might have a slightly different use in different cases and might be used by different people. So awesome, amazing, incredible, phenomenal, terrific, wonderful, excellent. These could be used to react to something. If somebody shows you a painting they made, right? Your son or daughter shows you a painting and you say, "That's awesome." You could equally say, "That's amazing, that's incredible, that's phenomenal, that's terrific, that's wonderful, that's excellent." And I think you would have the same general connotation for all of those. And this is a little bit subjective, but I would say that awesome feels more exaggerated, louder. Amazing feels more exaggerated, louder, right? Incredible really does give a sense of you're in disbelief about how great this is, right? Of course, it depends on how you say it. And phenomenal, I would say, is similar. Whereas terrific, excellent, wonderful could be used to mean very good, but maybe have a less, let's say, less oomph when we use them. Wonderful could be used in different ways, depending on the type of person, and the tone of voice, I think, would be slightly different. So I don't want to make any clear distinctions among these. I think they're all very, very similar as general ways to express this. But They might be used differently by different people because I cannot imagine someone over the age of, I don't know, 70 or something saying, "That's so awesome." I just can't picture it. Generationally, it's weird, right? Maybe the same for amazing. But I can picture excellent, wonderful. I can picture someone over the age of 70 saying, "Oh, that's wonderful, that's terrific," right? But awesome feels to me like something that someone my age might say. That's awesome. Oh, that's awesome, right? So there is a bit of nuance there in who's using it, but I think not too much nuance in the general feeling we get when we use these, okay? So just be aware of that, right? That if you want ones that are the most general, you might go with incredible, terrific, wonderful, and excellent. And if you want something that feels a little younger, maybe awesome, amazing, right? I don't know about phenomenal. Phenomenal sounds like you're trying to use a word that's different than amazing, right? You're using amazing too much, and for the sake of variation, you want to use the word phenomenal instead. I don't know about that one. Okay. But what about ones that feel formal? Ones that feel kind of, in my view, a little stuffy. Superb, splendid, marvelous, remarkable, outstanding, sensational. Now, I say it like that because that's the feeling I get when I see these words. They feel formal. They feel like things that you would say at an opera. They feel like things that you would say after you read a poem that's been carefully written and presented to an audience. Oh, that was superb. Now, that's not to say I never use it. I'm not a very formal person, but I sometimes use it when I want to have that slightly formal emphasis. The remarkable thing about words is that each one has a slightly different connotation based on its usage. So their remarkable is useful. I don't want to say the amazing thing about, because I feel like I want to make my case maybe more academic. I want to make it a little bit more, not stuffy and formal necessarily, but I want to make sure you know that I'm serious about what I'm saying, and I'm not trying to exaggerate necessarily. I really mean it is remarkable. Now, each of these might be used slightly differently. I think saying the marvelous thing about connotation, I could say that, it just doesn't feel right coming out of my mouth in that specific case. Remarkable is something that stands apart from others. Marvelous is sort of like, oh, that's really great, but a slightly more formal way to say it, right? I rarely say the word superb, speaking personally. We're not saying you can't, just me. I rarely say the word superb unless I want to sort of make a joke about me saying the word superb, right? I rarely say the word sensational. I do often say outstanding. I sometimes say remarkable in examples like the one I just gave, right? And splendid would be a good reaction to things. People present me with a plan. Hey, we want to go here tonight for dinner. I say, splendid. That just means, that sounds good to me. I like your plan. That's fine. And I want to say something other than good, very good, amazing, great, sounds good, right? It's just variety. So don't think of this as things you can or can't say or shouldn't say. They're all available to you. They're all common. It's just a matter of choosing frequency, whether it feels right for you. We all have our own kind of different way of thinking about it, right? So it's up to you. And to get a sense for these, you have to just look out for them in examples. Well, the way this is used, that's kind of how I talk. That feels right for me or wrong for me, right? I'm just trying to class these in fairly broad groups. Okay. So what about the slang? What about dope and rad and wicked and sick and fab and lit? Okay, well, these all, again, mean something very similar. Something is awesome. Now, I almost put awesome in this category, but I feel like awesome, and notice I'm using that phrasing, I feel like, because this is very subjective. I'm trying to give you my sense for this. I'm trying to give you a lens, a native speaker lens, just one person's lens into this, into the connotation of these, because it is deeply subjective. So awesome, I feel like, has become so normalized among so many people that you would have no problem using it in a meeting. In almost any situation, it's so common, right? But if you were in a serious meeting and you said, wicked, I suppose it depends on the group of people and if you're being sarcastic or not, but it could sometimes be inappropriate, right? Well, that's dope. I say dope ironically sometimes because I think it's kind of fun to say. But we get a sense for these of, I don't know, bro words, especially dope, wicked, and sick. So dope, wicked, and sick are kind of like surfer dude bro words. Whoa, that's sick. Oh, that's dope, man. Definitely younger, the younger demographic using those more often. And it having a slang usage, not being something that you would say if you want people to regard you as speaking sincerely, and especially not formally, right? This is something you say with your friends in a very casual setting. And I use all of them. I use dope, I use rad, I use wicked sometimes. Using language is about play. It's about using different things. It's about expressing yourself. So I never say I never, ever, 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 ever use anything. At least I try not to. Everything is available to me, right? Okay. Now, rad maybe. But rad, which comes from radical, feels to me more like a Gen X thing, or people who grew up in the 70s, or maybe grew up in the 60s, I suppose. I suppose you could put some baby boomers in there too. So I think it's been around longer as that sort of casual slang-ish way to say very good. So that's rad, that's radical. Radical people don't say, but rad, you still hear people say it, and I sometimes use it. Sick, I don't know when that started, but a lot of people in my generation, I'm a millennial, a lot of people in my generation use it. That's sick, which means that's really cool, that's great, I really like it, it's awesome, right? That's sick. Now, lit, I would say, is not in my generation. Lit would be, I think, what we could call Zoomers or Gen Z. So they have lit as maybe my generation has sick and dope. My generation uses sick and dope. I think everyone uses cool, right? Cool I didn't even bother putting in here because I think everybody says cool, except for maybe very old people. I think most people say cool. I say cool a lot. I say it so much that I didn't even put it here. But yeah, sick and dope feel to me like they belong to millennials. Wicked and rad feel to me like they belong to, and again, I'm just kind of ballparking this, they belong to Gen X, which is one above me. Lit feels like it belongs to Gen Z, which is below me, and then fab feels like it belongs to baby boomers, which is even older, right? Fab is short for fabulous, but I think it came about, I don't know exactly when, but it feels like a 60s, 70 things. That's fab. I don't hear people really say that anymore, except people who are now in their 60s and 70s. So that's just my sense for it. So anyway, these three groups, right, of let's call it ones that are general, that many people use, don't have that clear sense of being formal or casual. The formal group, it gives this sense of wanting to be taken seriously, right, and maybe can sound a bit stuffy. And then the very casual group, used by different maybe groups of people generationally, but generally speaking, not used in formal settings among friends, very casually. We call that slang, okay? So then what about cool and great? They're so ubiquitous, they're so common that I don't even think we need to talk about it. They're everywhere. Everyone uses great. Everyone uses great, at least. Cool, maybe. Almost everyone. Very, very common. I can almost picture my grandmother who's in her 80s saying, cool. She might not, but that might be the upper limit. I can picture it though. I cannot picture her saying, awesome. I cannot picture her saying, oh, that's rad. No way, no way. So this is a difficult subject. This is really tough as a teacher because I'm not telling you what things mean. And I almost think giving you specific examples would cause it to get pigeonholed and then would actually maybe negatively affect your impression of that. I'm trying to give you this sort of broad view of how these are kind of used and their connotations so that you can start to think about it. At least you have the groups now. You can start to think about your own usage and start making real decisions about how you want to express yourself, knowing that these are not all, even though they're synonyms, not all used in exactly the same way, okay? So, start thinking about it. If you have any questions, let me know. I'd be happy to answer. If you haven't already done so, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe also. Check out my full courses in the links in the description, and you can get a free English course, Natural English Conversations, in the links in the description.